So you might be asking, in today's age of fast food, computers, pollutants, pesticides, fertilizers, denatured plants, how do we care about our gut microbiome? Well, simply by cutting down our pollutants is one massive big step we can take. So this is why we're looking at these regenerative farmers, and they are creating fantastic microbes in the soils. Hence the plants are taking up these vitamins and nutrients that are actually in the soils as long as the soil actually has them. So something as simple as, I don't have it here today, but something as simple as selenium. Now this is just one very small topic, and selenium is one of the most powerful antioxidants, and it's very well documented to combat cancers, certain forms of cancers. Now if we have a Brazil nut that's grown in soil that is selenium depleted, that Brazil nut will literally have very little selenium. So hence, how can the human being take in that Brazil nut thinking that this Brazil nut is usually abundant with selenium, and it isn't. So many years back we were able to rely on our soils and on our food a lot more to obtain all these nutrients. But nowadays, because of our mass over-agricultural systems, depleting the soils, fertilizers, phosphates, glyphosate, these products are locking in nutrients in the soil, and the plant itself actually isn't able to take those nutrients up from the soil. So it's becoming almost bound up in the soil. So the calcium, the magnesium, the manganese, the copper, all these nutrients that actually supply us with good health. So back to how do we care for our microbes, and how do we bring our health back to where it possibly could be for the human body, because we are an incredible machine. Nothing else on this planet touches what we have in this human body, in this human form. So some very simple ways, really simple ways that we can just pick up our gut microbes and feed them daily. So it's not always what we do over a whole week or a whole month, thinking that, okay, well, we'll absolutely slaughter ourselves with tobacco, alcohol, antibiotics, and we'll eat food that's so completely denatured, and then we'll go on a binge for a week and just eat everything that's got microbes in it. It doesn't really work that way. Simple if it did, but it doesn't. It's what we feed our system every day, and in that way of feeding our system every day, we're giving it microbes, and these microbes need other microbes to feed them. So we're looking at probiotics to basically give us life. If we took out our microbes in our gut, we simply wouldn't exist. It's really that simple. So this is how powerful it is. So with the onslaught of the Industrial Revolution back in the 19th century, people didn't want to go to the markets every morning. People didn't want to have this we call it a problem, of getting out in the morning and going to a market, going to your dairy farm, going to your butcher, or having your animals slaughtered. All that was then seen as old school, and people wanted things easier. They wanted to walk into one big place and find everything, which is what happened in America. So the supermarket chains came about, and things went and sat on the shelves for months and months, and if not years. So this isn't food. Food deteriorates, food rots, microbes eat it, microbes use it, and new plants come up. But what we're seeing now is we're seeing everything put into packages, and this is depleting our microbes in our gut. It's not really feeding it. So putting something as simple as a glass of kefir. So I'll go into the kefir a little later, but this is simply one of the most amazing things in nature. It's bubbly, effervescent. It is microbes at their fullest. And one great thing about this, we have a problem that so many people deal with, and that's candida. Candida is an overgrowth of bacteria in the gut, simply done by consuming too much sugar, which depletes the gut, alcohol, cigarettes. Now, something as simple as kefir, made from the kefir grains, has a special yeast in it, and that's the Saccharomyces so to say yeast. This yeast is the only one so far that we've found that can actually overcome the pathogenic Candida bacteria, which is a yeast in its own. And how many people do we speak to that come into the workshops, that come in for treatments, that are on medication, serious medication to try and combat Candida? So can you see how our food, well, what we are doing, what we are not doing with our food is contributing to all sorts of diseases that we're encountering now that were never really encountered when people ate food that was well fermented and cultured. How do we go about changing this? It's really simple. We have the power to change this. We have the power not to just live on packaged food. It has its purpose. It has its place. But simply, if every day of your life you're consuming some form of probiotic, some form of cultured food, which ancient cultures all around the world have done for centuries, miso from the Orient, kimchi from the Orient. In India, they ferment dal, they ferment turmeric, they ferment carrots, onions, garlic, literally everything on this planet that the planet gives us, we can ferment. And we're just using the earth's microbes to do this. It's really as simple as that.